Above all, we would like to thank our school and teachers for always giving us the opportunity to express thoughts in our youth perspective regarding highly topical issues. This time again, the subject was chosen with care because there is nothing more important to debate than a subject that concerns us and concerns us as young Moroccans. It concerns us because it is directly related to us, and it concerns us because it creates a lot of confusion and fear. Indeed, the reinstatement of compulsory military service will implant the spirit of citizenship in young citizens. The compulsory military service is a national service with an international outlook. It is a duty toward our country. We owe this responsibility to our nation. It is actually a 12-month service where we learn first by practice how to serve our kingdom in case of need with no greed. But for most, how to turn the spirit of citizenship from hashtags to a state of mind. The compulsory service unifies Moroccan citizens. When we serve in the country, in the military in a certain period of our life, we are unified because it drills the spirit of helping each other. Moreover, patriotism and nationalism will be enforced and become one of our first values as we fight together for our country. 2. As the teeth of a comb, an Arabic proverb that refers to equality among citizens. Equality is in the core of the spirit of citizenship. It means I don't look down on you because of your job, culture, or tongue. From the north to the south, the east to the west, Amazigh and Arab are the same, unified under the flag. It terminates racial bias with no favors or exceptions. Everyone who is eligible is mandated to do the military service. We are all equals, just as the teeth of a comb. Our mother is Moroccan land, and it gives us the same rights. 3. Guarantees security in our country. With the compulsory military service, we will have different young Moroccans from different backgrounds learning how to serve the country in different areas. This ensures security in our country in an undoubted way, meaning all citizens with divergent experiences will learn soldier skills, and everyone will feel safe and secure. As a result, the spirit of citizenship is implanted because we love the nation we defend and feel safe in. 4. Efficiency and minimalist living. One of the best things about the military service is that you learn how to get the job done with less. In other words, be efficient and not only effective. Make the most of what you have, and at the same time have the best result without waste of time. This doesn't only teach your young citizens how to be pleased with just enough to survive, but it also teaches young Moroccans teaches them minimalist lifestyle. No waste and no greed in an era of global warming and greenhouse effect. So they can be good citizens and apply this lifestyle and to the after compulsory life and then save their country or planet. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first program of the day in our TV channel called Good Citizenship, sponsored by the military conscription. Today we're going to address an important topic that concerns all of us as Moroccan citizens, the compulsory military service. In another meaning, destroying freedom to protect freedom, according to Jacob Hornberger. The Ministerial Council of Morocco, chaired by King Mohammed VI, approved of the law concerning its reinstatement on the 20th of August 2018. People's reaction to this news were different and unexpected because the news came all of a sudden with no previous public debate. And some of these people think that we'll finally find safety, security, and peace. People will learn citizenship, patriotism, and teamwork. Sorry to break your sweet dreams, but get up! We've seriously wasted a lot of time, effort, and money in these banaries back in 2006. We should learn from our mistakes and stop following those long roads and circles that get us nowhere, except the starting point, which is never a good sign. We need to find a solution to this misery before it's too late. I have some ideas. Why don't we invest this 300 million dirhams we're going to waste as if we're pouring water into sand, into fixing our educational system, since it's what causing the bad mentality Moroccans have these days? Why don't we find jobs for these unemployed individuals in the streets with degrees, diplomas, and free time? Why don't we make going to school compulsory for the people who are uneducated instead of making the military service mandatory? And last but not least, why don't we build theaters, sports clubs, gyms, so the younger generation can empty their energy in, instead of taking drugs, smoking, and stealing? Now, dear audience, put your safety belts on. We're going to travel the world a little bit. Our first destination is Iceland, the world's safest place. You know what? They don't even have a compulsory military service, but they succeeded at keeping their country safe because of their good educational programs that are one of the best in the world. And on the other hand, let's go to our neighbors. Knock, knock. Who's there? I am Mauritania, a dangerous country with a high risk of murder, kidnapping, pickpocketing, robbery, terrorism, and the list is long. And this Mauritania has the compulsory military service, but they failed at keeping their country safe. The cause is their poor education, and this is a common point between us and them. So if we follow their road and apply the military service, we'll end up just like them, which is the opposite of what we're looking and aiming for. Now, dear audience, let's talk about the freedom. Do you think that these rich people that do whatever they want, whenever they want, would want to go to the military service and be submitted to some particular rules that they didn't choose to? No, it's not possible. They would just pay money and get off with it, because you don't know what this younger generation is capable of nowadays. And do you think that these rich people would want to serve a country that gave them nothing? No food, no healthcare, no good education, or no jobs? Without saying no more, I will let you with the Science Facts TV and the rest of the programs we've prepared for you, dear audience. But I do apologize in advance for the technical difficulties and false facts you'll face during this program. Thank you.
Greetings. Before anything else, I would like to express my enormous gratitude for the opportunity that my teammates and I have been given to clarify, let's just say, some wrong ideas that some of us might have hanging in their minds. You know, when you talk to people about compulsory military service, their answers are mostly, why would I risk my life for a country that doesn't even provide me with a job? Well, let me tell you that these people certainly don't know how terrible it is to live in war, how terrible it is to live in fear, that once you step out of your doors, you might never come back. Safety is one of the most important things our country provides us, and standing against compulsory military service, standing against fighting for your country's honor is your thanks? How greedy. Compulsory military service, as my friend just made it clear, is not only good for the people, but also for the country. And as a matter of fact, unemployment, unfinished schooling, poverty, social isolation, which are problems that our dear country had been dealing with for the last decades, leave our youth open to extremism, delinquency, and migration. Dear opponents, compulsory military service is a solution to our dear educational system, who keeps on producing unemployed people that themselves have a high chance of becoming a delinquent, or even worse, a criminal. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize how dangerous this situation is becoming? Criminals. Let me put this up in an easy way so that you can see from the right perspective. Compulsory military service equals less delinquent youth, which itself equals the less crime rates. Moving on. Mandatory military service, from what I noticed, is Quite an uncomfortable thought for many, calling to mind the horrors of the American Civil War, the Vietnam War, and the World Wars. And let me tell you that I'm here for one clear purpose, to remove these dark ideas and shed some light in your ways of thinking. And what a better way to start than with a quote. A great man named Nathan Hale once said, and I quote, "I only regret that I have but one life to give for my country." You know why we sleep safely at night? It's because rough men stand ready to visit violence on those who would harm us. It triggers me how people can be so ignorant, so selfish. It should not be questionable anymore. Compulsory military service does, and will always implant the spirit of citizenship among citizens. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Science Facts TV show. Today, we're going to talk about the human body, and specifically, his brain. Things are gonna get interesting, so ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention. So, talking about a human brain. Science has proved that brain cells are very adaptive and sensitive while we are young, which means that when, in your 10 first years, your mentality, your thoughts, the way you live and your routine are based on the way you were educated and what you learned in your 10 first years. And when I say 10 first years, you should remember it, because this is the fundamental period of your entire life. Now, how come that you want to change someone's thoughts, someone's mentality who lived 4 years in the street, who has grown up with a certain mentality and a certain way of living? 4 years, from 19 years up to 25 years. In just 1 year, 12 months, are you kidding me? This is just ridiculous if you think about it. Now, I can see some confused faces right there, so I'll try to explain that in an obvious way. Imagine I have a ball. This ball represents the country, home, school, and the streets. And I have water in it, and the water is anything bad you can do in the street, like crimes, drugs, smoking, and harassment. And I have this sponge right here, okay? This sponge represent anyone's brain. It can be my brain, it can be your brain, your brain, your brain, that boy over there's brain, that girl over there's brain, PewDiePie's brain, anyone's brain, okay? You wanna name him? Let's call him Hamadi, for example. This, if I try to put this sponge into the water, it would absorb most of it, right? Now, imagine if I put it for a long time, up to 19 years, it will absorb most of the water. Then I try to put it out and remove all the water from it. It will take time and effort, and also in this case, money. Then while at the end, I'm just gonna put it back. This is just useless. Just think about it for a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, no, military service is useless. I repeat after me. It's easy to say, I swear. Military service is useless. That's right. That's easy to say. And instead of changing, just 1 minute. Instead of trying to pull out all of the water from the sponge, try to change the water itself, which is education. Education is the most powerful weapon in the country. Yes. You can.
So what you're saying, that you better leave this sponge like that if you find military service not useful. Do you prefer leaving this sponge like that? As I said, it's a solution for our dear educational system, and that's what you're saying.
Of course. What I'm saying, I'm giving arguments, but I'm giving a solution. This sponge is already full of this water. So instead, there are a lot of sponges that are coming back to this water. A lot of sponges, which are the young generation. Which means that if you change the water, all of the sponges that are coming into the water are going to change also. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our TV show. We are very sorry about the difficulties that we have earlier, and I will leave you. Thank you.
لا تنكيت غنقول ما غنزيد حتى شي حاجه. Service for the country is one of the oldest and noblest forms of public service that not only save many innocent lives, but also create strong and capable citizens. First of all, they don't call it a service for nothing. You are actually serving your country, and it is a worthy and valid vocation. Aside from carrying weapons to fight the enemy, soldiers carry out other activities to help make a difference in people's lives, like joining humanitarian missions to make in places that have been devastated by tragedies. Moreover, the military offers people a way to help others, themselves, and their countries in the long run. Aside from promoting a great sense of nationalism and patriotism, it offers people new skill sets that can be useful later on in life. The military can teach individuals more than just how to throw a salute or shoot straight. It offers young adults a chance to learn a wide range of skills, morally, psychologically, and physically, which parents may not be able to offer. It turns youth into adults. It gives them great responsibilities and teaches them how to rely on themselves. The military focuses a lot of its trainings on discipline, which can be very useful for our youth nowadays. The trainings they provide go far beyond the technical skills. Many military volunteers who have pursued a career in the civilian workplace have mentioned other skills and work-related attitudes that help them in their daily life, like teamwork, diversity, stress management, initiative, and global awareness, and most importantly, citizenship, where the men are separated from the boys and learn how to deal with hardship and pain. It helps you gain confidence, self-esteem, and also physical strength.
UI.
Yes?
You said that military service saves people's life.
Yes.
Innocent people's life, but don't you think there are a lot of dead people who were dead because of the war and because they were in military training?
Well, they risked their life for their country and they died with pride because they love their country. And if you love something, you risk your life for it. Military service makes you grow up, create this extra identity which will help you face the real world. It promotes unity in the country. All citizens are supposed to serve in the military. This will allow them to learn and train together. This will also be a chance for them to share the same experience of having served, saved, and risked their life for their country. People will also have more respect for each other because they will know what it's like to be in the military, allowing them to better understand and appreciate the job of a soldier. Any citizen, whether rich or poor, is entitled to enlist in the military. As a result, social statues are eliminated, promoting equality among all people. It also promotes respect among the men and women because soldiers are trained powerfully to respect freedom and values. Thank you.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but due to some technical problems, we will have a small break. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. You. Do you feel like you have a lot of problems and you think you're a very bad citizen? You want to live safely and get a job? Then trust me, the military service is the best thing for you. No, just kidding. But seriously, I still don't get what's funny about what I've said because I've only repeated what my dear opponents here are trying to make you swallow since the very beginning. Anyways, it's up to you. I'm probably just saying. Well, as you may know or may not know, the military service here in Morocco has been created in 1966 and has been removed in 2006. And you may ask me, but why did they remove it then? Let me think. Oh, I remember. A little bird told me that it has to do with the terrorist attacks. Yeah, that's right. Oh, don't tell me that you haven't heard about the terrorist attack that took place in Casablanca in 2003. And guess whose fault it is? In case you didn't know, it's the military service. Two-thirds. And you know, I wonder how dare you come here, proud as peacocks, telling us about how Moroccans being civilized thanks to the military service. This is what I like to call the pot calling the kettle black. Anyways, last but not least, did you know that the military service will not and cannot solve our problems just like that in 1 year? You were talking about discipline and citizenship. I learned that at school. I learned that in my house with my parents and also here at school. So you should thank God you should thank God because you're lucky to have your parents with you, to be housed, to be feeded, to have someone who does care about you. So how come you be out here talking about spending more, what am I saying, wasting more than $300 million on people who doesn't even want to go to the military service, while there are millions of people who are suffering from problems 1,000 times worse and who just need a small financial help. Sorry. And so please try to think outside the box because you're just adding insult to injury. And thank you.
Dear opponents, what you want the society to change, but you're forgetting that the military service teaches our youth, forms our children, and well, that's the point you're forgetting. Besides, I feel like you're not taking this seriously, like with your TV shows, and I don't know, I just don't feel like you're taking it seriously, because here we are talking about the future of a country. Dear audience, the true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him. Gilbert Chesterton. Unfortunately, today, patriotism, courage, loyalty, citizenship, we've lost it all. Unfortunately, today, we suffer from a huge lack of values. Our youth is lost, irresponsible, selfish, and violent. For me and for all of us, the compulsory military service represents hope, something that we, Moroccans, have almost stopped believing. It's a 12-month program made to restore those values. 12 months with invaluable experiences, learning skills valuable in the marketplace, which will reduce unemployment, lower the crime rate, and save the economy. 12 months where the young can learn discipline, and yes, politeness, where their self-esteem is increased when they realize the difference they're making for their country. 12 months developing your personality and getting help being a better person, a better citizen. It's a 12-month program made to implant the spirit of citizenship in young citizens. And yet, here you are, questioning the importance of one of the truest signs of patriotism, something which won't be only beneficial for the country, but for us, citizens, at first and foremost. Dear opponents, let me tell you something. In a society where about 28% of Moroccans aged 15 to 24 are not in school, in trainings, or at work, according to the High Commission of Planning, where the majority of young Moroccans are isolating themselves by spending hours on social networks and chasing dreams that only exist in a virtual life, where our youth is resorted to violence and delinquency, which is due to the lack of proper education. We don't get to just pick a solution, because guess what? We're out of them. And then the government decided to reinstate the compulsory military service. That's one thing that can teach us discipline, teamwork, social bonds, respect, and interactions with each other. But you're rejecting it, daring to stand up here and pretend that it does not implant the spirit of citizenship, even if everything proves you wrong. And hey, don't believe me, believe the facts. Just take a look around all these developed countries. All these developed countries that have been using the military service for a while now. It seems pretty well for them. The thing is, our government finally realized
Why in 2013, Finland's people voted against abolishing the compulsory military service? Why in Switzerland, if it does not have an army, didn't let go of it? Why Norway, Denmark, Austria, unlike other European countries, were firmly against abolishing the compulsory military service? And why now have the most and highest security in the world according to a study produced by security specialist International SOS? Our government finally realized how the compulsory military service can be crucial for every country to succeed. Why can't you? Thank you.
Dear audience, dear opponents, good morning. Well, you were making fun of us, but at least we're creative. I'm sorry. Breaking news. The reinstatement of compulsory military service will implant citizenship spirit in young citizens. What a fantasy, though. And anyways, military training is an education. Yeah, it is an education for war. It is the perpetuation of war spirit. It involves the degradation of human personality and the destruction of liberty. It is against the personal freedom. It is against the right of a person to act and decide on his free will. And you should know, dear opponents, that not everyone is made or is built for this system, for this harsh routine. And how do you expect, dear opponents, their reaction after this 1 year, this 12 months, while they're doing something they're forced to do, they're doing something they don't want to do? Unless you think that this military service will give them some kind of magic pills, and then bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, Morocco will be the perfect country where there will be equality, patriotism, a nation united. Opponents, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but we're not in Disneyland. And as a realistic person, I don't expect all these sweet dreams. I mean, we don't expect all these sweet dreams. And, dear opponents, I'm sorry for you that you're aiming too high with the word equality and the poor will blend with rich people because of this military service. No. Well, to prove you this, while you're still in the Wonderland world, I'm going to tell you a story. So once upon a time, there was a girl from a very rich family. And when I say rich, I say money. And when I say money, I say power. So where's her Prince Charming? I don't see him, do you? So, oops, down to earth, her daddy will just come and pay off all her recruiters, and then she will stay at her home, living and enjoying her VIP life. And believe it or not, dear opponents, all that would happen in the poor and the middle class would be pushed to fight for the rich to protect the high class. Or in other words, all the poor will be out fighting and being killed. Meanwhile, the rich will be just getting fatter and fatter in their homes. Thank you.
Dear opponents, I'm sorry, but we don't need creativity here, we need facts. And what I noticed is that you're just covering your lack of arguments with humor. Let's move on. As young citizens, we can tell you that a lot of young of our generation are in lack of sense of priorities. In this world of social media, there is pure media and no social. Youth is consuming a good part of its time on social media, posting videos, checking stories, pictures, and looking for creative hashtags instead of learning a new language, reading books, writing, or developing other skills. Military service really teaches us the sense of priorities. You cannot sleep if you have to exercise. You cannot sleep if the enemy is chasing you. Priority number one will be fighting together for our country. In addition to that, in the base, there is no room for purposeless life. Everything is organized. We follow a program. We wake up early morning, take a cold shower, go for exercising, learn how to use arms, and so on. You really learn how to be organized and work together for a noble cause and a shared purpose. At the end, in the days, everybody eats lentils and beans, and everybody takes a cold shower. It really teaches a man how to be a man and a warrior instead of racing with girls to the beauty centers. And it teaches a woman how to be independent. It is definitely a win-win relationship in a country where parents do anything and everything to their kids. Moms are two moms and dads are two dads. I will conclude with what was said by the great Ibn Khaldun: we are less warriors with luxury. Thank you.
On that point, we're doing humor because the audience is apparently very bored from hearing you. And on another point, and you said that if you love your country, you're going to fight for it. But do you think that those poor people who aren't uneducated and that don't have jobs or a good health care would want to fight for that country? And do you think that the politicians' kids will go to the war to protect their country? I don't think so. It's always the poor and working class that is going to the war to protect the rich ones. And you said that most kids from 19 to 25 aren't in the schools and all of that. Well, you know what? 1 year of military training isn't going to solve these problems. But how about we make our education compulsory so they can go and it's going to be equal because everyone will go to school and learn what they want and find jobs for themselves because military service isn't going to get you a job after you're done. It's education for war, and this is not what we want. And at least if you go to school, there will be no injustice because everyone will go to school and they can learn wherever they want. Now go to the military service and they're gonna be jealous of the kids who are only child, and women will get married. And I do wonder if you have social media because apparently you don't know what's going on. This younger generation is looking for every tip so they can get away from this military service. It's just creating problems. It's just nonsense. People are just trying to find ways to avoid this military service. So why don't we make school compulsory? Thank you.
I was wondering, do you all remember your first day of kindergarten? Because I do. I cried my eyes out, and I kept asking myself, if my mom loved me, why would she leave me in this terrible place and in the hands of this terrible teacher? But little by little, I learned new things. I met new people, and I experienced first innocent love for the first time. And here I am now, and I can never thank my mom enough for dragging me by force that first day of school. I'm sure you're all wondering, like, why is this random girl telling us about her first day of kindergarten? But see it this way. Take my mom as your country and compulsory military service as kindergarten. And as the Almighty said in the Holy Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم, which is the perfect translation of fighting has been enjoined upon you while it is hateful to you, but perhaps you hate something that is good for you. Once in the compulsory military service, you will learn new things, experience things that your peers who are not smart enough to see what the military is really about will never experience in their lifetime. You will learn how to honor your country, how to be brave, how to not know what fear is. And let me tell you that you will thank your country for letting you be part of this big family called the military. And most of all, I would like you all to meditate on what I'm about to say. Not all angels reside in heaven, but many of them walk on the battlefield. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back to you again. And I have something to tell you. Don't forget that it's you and us versus the problem, the motion, not us versus you. So let's just take a closer look. Let's just take a closer look at what the military service, the compulsory military service imposes. People who have a police record, casier judiciaire, who are, or girls who are married and students are not concerned by the military service. Well, I mean, can I even laugh about this? Police record, they are the most dangerous people on earth, on the universe. And they are not even concerned with this military service. And the girls that are now looking for getting married, I mean, that's a good news for us. But that can be a real problem. And last and not least, the students. Did you just take a look at public schools at universities? They are the most of criminals in the country, are students. Just look, do you remember the guy who killed his friend because he didn't cheat in the exam? Remember him? I think no. Yes? And my dear Rumaysa, you said earlier that practice, that people are practicing for 1 year for their country. Well, that practice is a big problem because it will be an advantage for criminals to learn how to use guns, how to use knives when they come back from their military service, as I said earlier in the experience. Therefore, the security that you talked about also is exterminated. And earlier I've said, Wijdan, that the sponge. Thank you.
You know, that guy who killed his friend because he didn't let him cheat is the reason why we need compulsory military work for these people who are not disciplined enough to live with us in harmony. Would you like to see your son, daughter, niece, nephew, sibling, or teenage neighbor become more hardworking, respectful, disciplined, honorable, and prepared for life? Would you like to see crime, teenage pregnancy, and substance abuse rates decline? No, this is not an advertisement for a magical pill. This is an argument for mandatory military service. Those from rich and poor homes, religious and secular backgrounds, different shades of skin color, smart and slow, courageous and hesitant. Service pushes all through a mixer, treating them equally, placing the same demands and entrusting the same great responsibilities, regardless of creed, ethnicity, or other labels or affiliation. Mandatory military service has proven its advantages and proven itself valuable in protecting the sovereignty of the state as well as in expanding its territories. And after all this analyzing, I hope that you've come to your senses, dear opponents, and confess that you've completely realized that mandatory military service does implant citizenship in us young citizens, in me, young citizens. Thank you.
You know, dear opponents, I noticed that you were all talking that you were all repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating that the military service will give rise to civilized people and all that stuff. No way. No way, because it would just create professional criminals who will have learned how to use their weapons. Anyway, and you also said that it will create mans and all that stuff. A gun in your head doesn't make you a man. Manliness is choosing what you want. And thank you.
Dear opponents, you talked about how when the youth goes to the compulsory military service, they learn how to use guns. So when they come back, they will use those guns, isn't it? Well, the thing that you forgot, and again, is that the compulsory military service implants them values. And how can you imagine that those people with values can come back and shoot each other? Nelson Mandela once said, "No country can really develop until its citizens are well disciplined." Now, at the end of the day, we all have different inspirations, but one goal: a better life for each one of us. We want to see our nation strong and powerful. Compulsory military service can help us achieve that one true goal. Honor is what should come to mind every time you think of compulsory military service. Serving your country with honor. A country that gave me an identity, a life where I can sleep every night peacefully. Without my fatherland, I am no one. Without my fatherland, I am nothing. We all are. Now my fatherland gave me that chance to defend it. And by the way, I get to be a better citizen. Now I want you all to hang on to the bit of good faith you have left so that we can make this project succeed. Abandon your pessimism, because otherwise we're not going anywhere. Join us, and together we can build a new Morocco, better citizens. And again, don't take my word for it. Take Nehru's, who once said, "Citizenship consists in the service of the country." Thank you.
Hello again. So I just noticed that, Jeromesa, you weren't listening to me at all, because you've said after me that the poor people and the rich people will be under the same roof eating beans or whatever, and I said that there won't be equality, and there is no equality, and there won't be equality. Do you know why? Because the rich people, they won't waste 1 year from their life, because they will just pay money and then just be at home. Not like the poor people that they will be pushed to go to the armies, and then they will fight for the rich, like I've said before. So the other time with the other debate, I advise you to listen more, because a lot of important things I've said, you didn't even notice them. And I'm just, as a conclusion, this 1 year will just be wasted from the life of each person, because there are a lot of people, they're not interested to this military. They're not made for this life. They're not made for this routine. There are people that they're scared just to touch a gun, and you say that this woman or this guy that shoot his friend when he will go to the army, he will learn how to take a weapon, and then when he will go out, he will be more dangerous than before. And thank you.